And welcome to episode 4 of Rasp of Sand. My name is Jeremy. I will be your game master for the evening. Joining me this evening, we have 3 amazing players. And they are down here to my left on your screen, to my actual right, I think, but also left. No, right. I did it wrong that time. Is the amazing Andy Cummins. Hello, Andy.
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. You know, hanging out. It's hot in here.
Hot
it's
in here
hot
too.
in here.
The studio lights don't help.
Everyone's got the fans off to stop those noises, and yeah, we can all roast together.
Frying in solidarity. Yes, I am. My name is Andy, and I'm playing Flan, daughter of Flank Slashfoot. I'm a level 2, newly leveled up warrior, level 2. Which means I got some great stat boosts from that. And I also have a passion for art because this generation's characters went to art school and is really apparently a little ruthless going by the end of last session, but also went to art school. And if you go to a good art school, they teach you to be ruthless. Art school. That's me.
She talked to Robert Chambers about that. Probably has some good insight into how art school makes you nasty. Going on to next in line, directly below me, you'll see Mr. Ian Horner. Ian, who are you playing right now?
Well, Jared, today, as I was last session, as I was the session before that, inexplicably...
Oh my gosh, that's not even allowed.
We're bringing back
to die.
The curly-haired menace, simple of clothing, chiseled of face, and quaint of speech. Hello, everyone! I'm Krankfour, a 4th-generation magic user who has now been elevated to the amazing level 3. Stratospheric bonuses abound.
And Krankfour, you've got beyond like the other appearance stuff. There's something else going on recently. Something that's a more recent development. You want to tell us about that?
That's correct. I mean, I have been very hungry and in my travels, and I've been trying to slake my thirst for knowledge by shoveling sand into my face. And it turns out the last time I did that, my head grew a little bit larger, and I gained the ability to echolocate.
So hopefully we'll see an opportunity for that to come up. And then over to the right of Ian on your screen, you will see our dear friend Matt. And Matt, who are you bringing tonight?
I am bringing myself playing Clarabelle. Think well, a academic that has a sports scholarship compared to Flan that is less of an academic that has an arts scholarship. We're 2 sides of the artistic and scholarly coin, I guess.
Suppose so.
I also ate a slug and got very mad about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that's gonna haunt you too. Like you're gonna wake up every morning, assuming that you get to wake up ever again. But you're gonna wake up in the morning thinking about that fish and being like, if only. Yeah. That one's going to die hard. I'm curious because Flan and Clarabelle both got to level up, and you have the art school student from the athletic background and the athletic wizard. Did you keep going with that as you leveled up, or are you getting more artistic and more athletic respectively, or are you maybe going a little bit more towards your training?
Oh, I'll let you go first, Andy, actually.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's a good question. What did I do to my stats? I raised strength, dex, and charisma. So now I'm very dexterous at a +6. So I'm guessing yes. I think if Flan is to survive this, she is going to be doing some interesting things with blood and canvas. I think she's really, it's getting those artists' hands, she's going to be able to make some lovely, disturbing pieces of art.
And definitely like master sculptor at this point too. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And on my end of the academic spectrum, I boosted my dexterity, my constitution, and my intelligence, because my intelligence actually wasn't that high. And my dexterity and constitution also weren't that high. I want to survive this thing, is what Clarabelle is thinking.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's a reasonable impulse, I think. So, speaking of surviving, you have been surviving for an awfully long time. You've gone through several different levels of this dungeon at this point. You went through 2 entire levels. While none of your ancestors ever made it past the pelagic layer of the temple, you managed to find that below it was a reef forest that you made your way all the way through, navigating all sorts of strange dangers, and you've now found your way to more recently another level that seems to be more or less just covered in kelp, just kelp and seaweed everywhere. So you, just to recap quickly what you went through for the very end of the last session, you went down into this level and you did what you normally do. You chose a direction to go and you went there, and you moved through some very, very thick seaweed that you started to cut away and try and work your way through, and you discovered that amid this foliage and whatnot. I should also mention, like, you're not actually underwater, but like a lot of the time it feels like it. And this adventure actually breaks my like mental model for this, because like I constantly think you are actually underwater, and like when I envision what's going on, I'm like, oh, they're underwater. They see like a big eel, and the eel swims towards them.
I was super confused when the
like
tide came in.
A slithery snake. There's the tide still happens because there's water sort of moving through the dungeon, but yeah, it is definitely all. You're definitely able to breathe in your present environment, so that's an important distinction. But anyway,
in my imagination, it's always been like water Pokemon. It's just they're just moving through the air in the same way they'd move through water.
Yeah, and you fight them, and you go fishing, and you fight them, and they just happen to be sitting on top of the water instead of inside it. So yeah, you've been moving through this very dense, or you're moving through this very dense seaweed, and you found what seemed like a building or something, some sort of freestanding structure in amongst the seaweed, and you've begun cutting that away to try and access the building, which seems like it is some sort of freestanding stone structure. And as you were doing that, something came through the seaweed. I'm sure you all remember what came through the seaweed.
Octomech.
Yes, an octomech came through the seaweed. A big octopus driving a mech that itself was a much bigger octopus, and it had lots of different levers and buttons and whatnot to manipulate in there. And it gestured for you to follow it, so you did, because obviously when the big octopus says to follow it, that's what you do. Yeah. And it took you to some sort of workshop, and it gestured towards sort of an area that had seemingly some beds and things, and just kind of rest area, and you indulged by resting. And I believe you were going to figure out what you wanted to spend this rest doing, assuming that the octopus is not just going to jump you in your sleep, of course, and attack you. What would you like to do while you're resting?
Well, I would like to eat some rations, and maybe can I eat rations and also forage for rations, or is it one or the other?
You get to do one in any given rest. So if you are taking one rest, you can use it to eat, and then if you're taking a second one, you can use it to forage. But I would like to know which one you want to do first.
I think I shall eat a ration. I will take out some more of my fish dunkaroos. And admire the interior design of this octopus's workshop / living space.
Ooh. I think that the eating and resting is not so much just like necessarily eating. It's like, taking a breath, centering yourself, but also, maybe like actually bandaging up any wounds and taking some time to make sure that everything is all that nothing's like falling out.
I got a nasty coral wound in my arm from last time. So I guess I'm just picking at that scab and thinking about it.
which you're pretty sure is not poisoned, but like jury's. I mean, it's been like what, an hour, so jury's maybe still out on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absentmindedly suck up the wound of it.
Pretty.
Ooh, apricot.
Anyone else want to do?
Absolutely. As a magician, I have the 4th level. I'm going to use my 3rd level power, or 3rd generation power, rather, to start scrivening a pearl into a spell pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to take 3 rests. But
are you wanting to reveal which spell you're making, or are you going to save that for if you actually complete it?
That sounds like a good... Yeah, I think I'm going to wait on that one. But I am making the choice now. I think it's going to be cool.
Suspenseful.
Mm-hmm.
And during my rest, there's an ability that academics have to learn languages by taking a rest for it. I'd like to learn the language of the octopus color.
Okay. Now you just get an understanding of it, right? You don't actually get to learn to. It takes another rest to learn to speak it.
Yeah, I assume in this specific instance that there is no way that Clarabelle would be able to learn how to speak octopus colors because she cannot physically turn them.
Right. I think that there may be some strategies that you could look into, but they might require some extra equipment of various sorts. So yeah, I mean, you can change your color by holding your breath. It just takes a really long time, probably, to iterate one consonant.
Yeah.
And that might not be the one you want either. Okay, yeah, that seems like a good use of time.
Mm-hmm.
So as this rest comes to a close, as we sort of come to the end of this period of time during which you're all doing these things, you're starting to learn more and more of the things that the octopus has to say. The octopus is not particularly paying a lot of attention to you. The octopus appears to be using its rest to replenish supplies in the mech and perform any maintenance that needs to be done as part of its sort of routine. So it maybe maybe drops a wrench on one of its feet. I mean, it certainly has enough. And like changes to like an orange color or something like that, and you're like, aha! I know what that means. I've seen my dad change that exact color when he dropped a wrench on his foot. So you're starting to get some of those things, but you are so yeah, and by the end of it, you're getting you think a pretty good sense of maybe the things that the octopus had said to you before. So you're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, it was definitely telling us that we could come to this workshop and that we're welcome to rest here. At this point, the octopus is going to turn to you and it's going to start changing colors again. Clarabelle, you're getting from it something along the lines of,
"We must move. This space is only vacated for a small period of time."
All right, gang, time to move out.
Okay.
Your translation might not be perfect, but it's getting back into its mech, and what you're starting to see is that the water that's been flowing through the little channels into this room is now starting to collect a little bit more at the bottom. So like you're walking in maybe 2 or 3 inches of water, whereas before it was mostly confined to the channels that actually ran through the floor. The octopus is going like,
"The cleaning sequence and sterilization sequence,"
I don't know if you know what that means.
"is about to commence. Therefore, we should vacate."
And it's getting back in the mech, and it goes back to the door, and the door activates the mechanism on the door, and the door goes and opens up with a really satisfying mnemonic sound, and out the octopus goes, and it waits for you to follow.
I do
follow.
so. I follow Big Octopus Friend.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So out you go. The door closes behind it, and as the door sort of like closing like this, like top and bottom. I don't know if you can see how my hands are moving because my connection seems to be a little bit weird, but it's closing up to down and down to up. You see water following more or less the level of the door and filling up the room as you exit it. And you come back to the room from which you entered this level, the room with the big staircase. And that brings you to kind of back where you started. The octopus turns to you and says, "Do you require additional assistance?"
I can't really speak octopus, but I can pantomime with the crown, trying to return it to, and I guess like put it on the head of Flan, because Flan is a imposing female figure.
I say, not knowing if that's the right thing to say.
You should not wear, not yours to wear. And it gestures in the direction that you were going, and says, "Proceed."
All right, so we keep going that direction then.
Says it, colors. But
Yeah.
I'll attempt to give the octopus version of a thumbs up.
Is there?
It is. It tries to mimic you with all of its various tentacles, and that is kind of amusing.
I would like to thank the octopus by gifting it one of my items, just a metal file that it can use for its maintenance, and just like bow appreciatively. I don't think holding my breath and turning red would exactly work, but just give it that and thank it.
So maybe not the most effective means of communication, but it takes the file and says,
I thank you for your contribution.
and then it's just gonna leave. It's gonna go the opposite direction from the way that it told you to go. But it's not saying goodbye. It's not lingering on sweet sorrow. It is just walking away.
All right. So can we get back into that room from whence we came, for where the Deep Queen is, or does it still feel like it is an oven on self-wash? Like it is.
So it kind of went down a passageway. So you hadn't really like explored that passageway from the main room that you started in. But yeah, you can go back down there and take a look, and it's definitely sealed off right now. And you remember that it had some sort of special locking mechanism that it used to get in, where it put its actual octopus tentacle into the door to open it up. So seems though, from the sounds that are coming from inside it, like it is probably still doing its thing.
Yeah. Halfway through the wash cycle.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, yes.
Oh no, please. I was just going to suggest that we should continue in the direction we should continue in the direction the octopus indicated.
Agreed. That cephalopod, is that the right one?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it knows things. That seems like the most capable thing we found down here. Let's definitely go where it wants us to.
All right, so heading back into the seaweed sort of covered area, seaweed choked area, you can see that the seaweed is very, very fecund. It's growing back really, really quickly. I don't know if fecund is the correct word for that context, but it is full of life. It is full of and it seems to be sort of regenerating. Even the places that you cut and scraped off are like sort of getting little tendrils of seaweed kind of back on them. So it definitely quick to regrow. Do you want to continue doing what you were doing? That's more or less scraping and cutting your way around this building thing, or are you going to keep on trying to hack through and maybe get to continue going in a particular direction?
We were interrupted by the octopus while we were in progress cutting out the stone figure, and it said that we were going in the right direction. So should we finish the job?
Agreed.
Yeah, let's see what it's all about. Solving mysteries. We're gonna do it.
Shave the statue.
All right. So you spend some time and you cut away this seaweed plant life that's been caking up around this thing, and you find that it is a small building, basically, that is maybe only about 10 feet around. So it's made of flagstones, which makes it kind of unique for this area because the ground is very much obscured with this slimy, slippery seaweed like you'd see on the beach. But yeah, it is made of stone where you can cut the seaweed away, and it has a small arched doorway approximately opposite side from where you found it. So once you've worked your way all the way around it, you can find your way inside. Inside is a statue. There's a statue of an old woman wearing a crown of ice and furs, with furs draped around her. She has sort of a contemplative look on her face, and in one hand she's holding an ice pick, and the other one is pouring water from some sort of jug.
Very interesting.
Is this what we imagine the Deep Queen to look like?
So you've seen at least one visual representation of the Deep Queen so far, I believe. You found an effigy or an idol to her at some point previously, and she did not look like this.
So this is someone else in the Pantheon?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, it's not the Father of the Mountain, because I still have that clue from, I guess, last stage, where the Father of the Mountain mourns. I don't think this is there.
Oh, wait. Where the Father of the Mountain mourns. Maybe the Father of the Mountain is mourning whoever this statue is. Like, this could be some sort of shrine grave thing. Maybe. I don't know. But an ice pick is very, very interesting for this underwater place. It's very out of the element of the game, almost. Is there anything else here to look at? Is it just a statue in the middle of this 10-foot around building?
That's all you can see as you walk in. It doesn't look like there's any like boxes or dead bodies or giant spiders or anything else in like plain view. But if you want to sort of walk around and spend a little bit of time, seeing if there's any loose stones, looking behind stuff, seeing if you can lift the statue up and see if there's someone shoved a note underneath. Just thinking of all the possible things where someone could hide something in a room like this. If you want to find that stuff, you can spend some time looking around and see if you can track it down.
I think spending some time is worth some while here. I'm interested. This may be a puzzle statue of some sort.
Yeah, if you're interested in doing that, I do have that ability to spend time without spending time doing a search.
Yeah, and that's you can do that to basically do this without spending time.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was a D20, right?
Yeah.
20 total.
20 total.
Yeah.
Okay. So sure, you don't think that there's anything else in this room.
Okay.
That you have not uncovered previously.
The statue's the thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so does anything on the statue look removable? Could we gain an additional curse by stealing this ice crown?
So everything is uniformly made of stone. It looks like the same sort of marble that you would see, like sort of marbled marble that you might see in a headstone or something along those lines. It's very from your in your professional opinion, it is carved in a sort of mediocre to good, or a mediocre to good level of competence. Someone who probably spends a lot of time carving monuments for just whatever god. It's not, every god needs a monument. You got to have someone to make the monuments. This person is a tradesperson. They can make a monument, but they're not necessarily going to put any finesse into it.
Excellent. Well, then I stand back from it and put my hand on my chin and go, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I can't fault them. I'm taking in what they put into the piece, but it doesn't move me. What do you guys think?
It's intimidating as hell.
I understand the metaphor they're going for, but again, I'm not really buying it.
Oh yeah, well, I could see that. And just in case I say we're the, what was that thing you said? We're the what was it, Clarabelle? Where the
father of the mountain mourns.
I say that, but where the father of the mountain mourns.
Are you doing anything while you say that?
I am putting my hands over my head in kind of a woo-woo sort of gesture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go, you do that, and you hear a sound. A voice says in the fishy language that you've heard before. All of you can hear this. Are you done here? And Clarabelle, you look around behind you and you see that there's some fish standing in the doorway.
Okay.
There are 6 fish standing in the doorway. There are 2 of them that look. They all look a little bit different from the fish that you've seen before. 2 of them are taller, and they have much better defined tails than the ones that you've seen before. So previously, you've seen like they've got like a fishy tail that sticks out behind. This one's like way more like a lobster tail, looks like it has some more actual play to it, and some more muscle inside it. And then also there's 4 more that are sort of like just generally bigger, and they're like generally bigger and more sort of like almost bulbous looking than the other ones. They kind of walk a little bit like this, and they have you see that these ones have a couple of what look like small fish. Fish people stuck to their backs, like hanging on with their mouths, and occasionally one of them like sort of latches on with its little fishy hand fin things and unlatches with its mouth and goes but yeah, so they're standing there, and they are carrying some various things. It looks like one of them has like a big sort of it could be a mace. It looks like the sort of top of a piece of kelp that's been dried out, the bulb part of a piece of kelp that's been dried out, and it's got that. It looks like it could be a mace or like a really, really big club, but it would have to be like it looks like almost unwieldy for this fish to carry it. And then one of them has sort of a table with some sort of cloth around it, and it looks like there's sort of etched markings on the top of the table, and then another one is carrying a jar that has a bunch of sticks sticking out of it, with something like a match head or whatnot on top of it. This is probably incense. And they're kind of standing at the door looking at you rather impatiently.
Sorry, we booked for 4 p.m. Are we running late? Or are you early? I'm sorry.
Daylight savings. Yeah. We'll get out of your way. Flan? Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, play through. Go ahead, and then I want to listen into what they do, though. I want to know what sort of rites are going down.
So they're gonna if you're gonna vacate for them, they'll move in and they'll set up their little table and put some incense around the room and they light it up. They've got sort of a flint and steely deal, so they use that to light up the incense, and they start chanting in fish. So a lot of like rhythmic fashion that gets tiring over time. Are you letting them know that you're watching them? Like, are you just kind of hanging out at the door, very obviously watching what they're doing, or are you like trying to be discreet about this?
I don't know. What is how grave is this ritual? Is this something that we get this feeling that we shouldn't be watching? Or is this more of a public sort of Unitarian church sort of thing?
I mean, it's kind of it's difficult to they don't seem to really be bothered by the fact that you're there, I guess. So they're just gonna sort of proceed once you let them in. They kind of walked in on you mid worship, so they kind of assume that's what you were doing while they were waiting, and they're doing their thing. So they are there's not a lot of like dancing or anything as part of this ritual, but they are all involved in chanting and such things. Clarabelle, you are getting so these are what they're saying. They seem to be singing songs that are alluding to someone called the yes. Sorry, I lost my page, but it's in my notes. To the High Lady of Frigil, who has an association with the ice caps and polar currents. So they are praying to her and asking for her blessings in the winter months ahead, to make it a mild winter, and also to help them bring her the icy sharpness of her wit and strength to their daily activities. So yeah, they're going to do that for a little while. Are you going to continue just hanging around outside, or?
I feel like we've gained everything we're going to from watching them. It's just a local custom here, and now we know who to name drop if we want to be on their good side. If you guys are ready to move on, I am.
Yeah, I am. I think their religion is really cool, and it's good to learn something. It's just take in from all kinds. It's more water for the well, as my art teacher used to say. Yeah,
more ice for the cap.
Queen. Let's go.
Yeah.
To where the octo person told us to go. This, I assume, yeah.
So yeah, this is going to take you, if you want to continue hacking your way through the seaweed, that's going to take you some more time. It seems like the fish must have been able to move through it much more easily somehow, probably because they're real slimy. So they were able to move through it a little bit more easily, but the easiest way for you to move through it still seems to be, hacking away at it, or having someone like pull some of it back and let everyone else move past them, and then let it snap back into place. Eventually you're going to find your way out, and the path of least resistance for this one appears to be just straight ahead of you. So that is where you end up going. And eventually you after a bunch of hacking, you find that it clears out into sort of a clearing. And you find that there's a big wooden building standing here, and it's surrounded by kelp or seaweed trees, and it looks like it looks almost like a traditional what you would think of as a traditional church as built by the people of your building. I don't actually know what the religious persuasion, what the customs are for your people, so you can enlighten me as to what that is, as to what those are, if you like. But whatever it is, this is a building that seems to be in line with what you would expect.
Okay. It's pretty much the same as Topside, but like way slimier.
I don't want to say it's slimier. It actually looks like it's in some disrepair. It's been it definitely, like, the wood looks like it's not in very good shape. There's parts of it that are sort of falling apart.
It seems odd to me that we would have a wood building down here at all.
Yeah.
The other thing that you're seeing is there's actually soil in this area. So as you walk through, you're not so much stepping on the floor full of channels. You're stepping on more dirt, like packed dirt, clay, mud, and there's still water running through it, but the water doesn't run through it quite as in quite such organized channels. It's more that it kind of is just oozing through it as channels through the mud. Again, to make the beach comparison, like when you're in the shallows and you've got the sort of stream that comes in, it kind of widens out as it goes into the water. That kind of effect.
It's a piece of home down here.
We should definitely have a look inside.
Oh, absolutely.
So heading inside, you see that it's there's an ancient wood altar, and on it is a carving of a young person. He is human, cheerful, male presenting. He's got an axe in his hand, and as you come in, there's this just a feeling of almost sadness that comes over you. It's very intangible, but you almost feel like you want to start crying as you walk in the door. On
Is
the
this
back,
the Prince of the Forest?
on the back wall is a carving in heartwood of it's it's the Deep Queen. It's the lady who you saw on the effigy before, with the crown that you are in fact have in your possession. She is behind him on the wall with her arms open. So there's an altar, statue right behind the altar, and then the Deep Queen up behind on the wall.
There's so much religious iconography down here. It's that in politics. It's a weird, wild place. This is, and I don't. Anybody else feeling really down? I got some things coming up.
I've always felt very sad about the Axe Child.
Yeah, me too. Would within our folklore, would this be the person who stole the crown in the first place?
So I think that you actually might know something about this person.
Okay.
So to go a little bit deeper into the legend surrounding why the world was flooded. So your people stole the Deep Queen's crown, and they did it to make water, because your people chose to start their place, their village, in a place that was full of resources. It had access to trade routes. It had access to forests for lumber. It had access to mountains for mines. It had access to all those good things that you want when you place your first Civ city. But it did not have fresh water. And that was a bit of a problem. Proved to be a bit of a problem. And so whatever supply line dried up, they weren't, or well that they were tapping, they weren't able to get it. And so that's why your people went to get fresh water, or went to the Deep Queen's temple to steal her crown to get fresh water. And generally, it's acknowledged that they went and they took the crown, and the Queen punished them for it. But actually, the Queen was kind of forgiving of it for the first little bit. It wasn't until your people used it to make a big lake or sort of a big reservoir that ended up kind of accidentally, as your scholars tell it, kind of spilling down and filling up this basin that had a forest in it and completely drowning it. That the queen got very angry and decided to start flooding humanity out of the world. And the stories at the time, like if you're like a scholar or something and you've like cross-referenced it, there were definitely stories about some sort of forest god that was worshipped there by the druidy people who hung out in that forest, and the shapeshifter bears and the other such things. And that spirit was often characterized as a young man with an axe who was sort of a woodsman.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I've always felt sorry about the axe child.
Yeah, that's downer.
I'm just glad I'm not seething with rage like I was an hour ago.
I'm so glad that you've dealt with your feelings about that, Clarabelle. I'm proud of you. Oh, dang.
Should we take the time to check this place out?
Yeah, I'd say so.
This building's definitely falling apart. So there's like a lot of dirt on the ground. There's pews that have sort of fallen over and are looking pretty wrecky. There's the whole area around the altar, ceilings falling in a little bit, etc.
I'm not sure that we should like mess with anything here. Number one, for our safety in terms of the building falling on our heads, but number two, because I think the Deep Queen has kept this as a memento. And we already have her on our bad side.
Right. I guess so.
Maybe outside of the building, but I don't think we should mess inside.
All right. Okay. Sounds good to me. If it doesn't look like there's any like jewel encrusted chests that we could plunder, so I guess we'll be respectful and leave it be.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just gonna leave. That's the plan. As you head out the door, I am gonna need. Well, okay. As you head out the door, let's roll initiative.
Okay.
I need you to nominate someone to roll initiative.
Would like to. Clarabelle, go ahead and roll initiative.
4.
Yay.
4. All right, that's good. That's good. So as you're walking out the door, you hear someone saying in as subtle a manner as possible, as can be said, through a blowhole and long snout. When they come out the door, that's when we need to do. Oh, shh, shh.
Oh no. Do these voices sound familiar? Are these the
In general sense? In
Yeah.
general sense.
Do they sound like the sad dolphins we left back on the second level that I betrayed? I'll take that. I really.
So
I
basically,
don't
you're
think
like,
those dolphins were sad anymore.
So like what I'm trying to get across is you're like kind of coming out the door and you see them and they were going to try and jump you, but you kind of catch them flat-footed because they were going to try and do a room clear like a breach to smash in on you, and you just walked out before they had a chance. So you've kind of taken them flat-footed. So there are in fact 4 dolphins. One of them is down an arm, but they all have spears. And they are looking ready to tangle. So what's your initiative? What would you like to do?
I have another slug.
I could, if we're down to go, I could use one of my abilities. Well, actually, no, defender might be better for like a big animal rather than 4 dolphins, 1 less an arm.
4 dolphins, 3 of us.
If I attack now, would I have advantage if we're taking them flat-footed, as you say?
No, there's
Okay.
so you're kind of like catching them unawares, but they were still kind of ready to go for combat. So you've won initiative, but you're not going to necessarily get any sort of advantage unless you want to like use the fact that you know about them to some sort of like other advantage.
That's
that you
true.
you can think of.
We could use diplomacy.
Mhm.
We could, I guess. Okay, well, I'm going to do it. Oh, thank God you're okay. Oh, we're so worried. We keep losing each other. This is nuts. Did you see what all those fish people did back there in that village? I'm so glad you got away. Oh, it's been so crazy. We stumbled down these stairs and an octopus man nearly killed us. It was really terrible. And then we ran into religious zealots who were very rude. Is this really, gosh, I'm so glad you guys are all right.
So as you're coming out and like throwing yourselves at their mercy, you can see that like there's the 3 that you fought before. They look like they've spent some, or that you had with you before. They look like they've spent some time to patch themselves up. So they're, they've definitely taken some time to eat some food, rest up, do their thing in the same way that you have. There is also a 4th that looks a little bigger and much fresher than the other ones, and he has a sort of a big collar on with some scales that go down in front of him in a very artful way. Like sort of mother. It looks like they're maybe made of mother of pearl, so they shimmer slightly. They're quite actually. The composition of the piece is quite good. It's not something that you would normally assume, but it really does evoke the movement of water in quite a profound way, almost with a feeling of mourning and regret. Okay, so so they've got. It looks like they brought like the head dolphin with them. What do the other 2 of you want to do as Flan throws herself at their mercy in a cunning gambit?
You know what? I'm going to take this opportunity. No, wait. I can't surreptitiously cast anything that doesn't work. I'm gonna help out with this. Long time no see, friends of the deep. You seem to move very well within this kelp forest, which we are having quite the time at. We could use your assistance on the prophesized path.
Absolutely. We have lost our way, brothers and sisters and otherwise identified siblings. Please help us to return so we may once again...
And we prayed for assistance at this very shrine.
It worked.
And
Thank
here you
the gods.
are.
And I prostrate myself on the ground. Thank you, oh Zach's child and D Queen. Thank you.
Clarabelle, what are you doing to assist with this cunning ruse or otherwise act?
The word cunning is becoming more and more in quotation marks. That's sort of
And you use ruse like I'm being anything but 100%.
Yeah, this is
genuine.
Clarabelle was, I believe, one of the first ones to act and turn against the dolphins once we got to that fish school. So she's just kind of white-faced, yes-manning everything that the other 2 are saying right now and like prostrating herself on the ground, just kind of echoing everything like, yes, thank the forest, thank the prince for your assistance today.
Okay, so this is going to trigger some more discussion in cetacean. So there's some like blowhole stuff going on this time. The big dolphin is making ample use of the blowhole to like make some nice good grumpy grumpy noises at the other ones, and it eventually and they sort of they talk back to him in cetacean, and then it turns to you and goes, "You give the crown or we kill you."
What do?
Oh. Well, they got us. Friends, they got us. You know, they're right. And I take the crown in one hand and my mace in the other. And I bring it towards and I with my hand outstretched behind me with the mace, and the other one here, I proffer it to His Highness in the fantastically pearlescent garment. And what do they do?
Oh, so he will reach out to take it from you.
I'm gonna bop him sideways in the head.
You know, like the Hamburglar, like hamburgers in the eyes situation. Yep. Like his eyes get really big and drool comes out of his mouth, and you can just see that he's looking ahead like a week to where he gets promoted to like head dolphin, and he's super excited about it. And yeah, he reaches out to take the crown in the sort of greediest possible way, and I assume gets a mace in the face.
Oh yes, no, I am. This dolphin is getting cream corned. He is with this mace.
Oh no, betrayal!
Oh no, betrayal! And I also would I have advantage on this? Is this a creative attack?
So for this creative attack, I will give you advantage, and I will move us to the next round and give your team initiative as well.
Oh, thank you very much. And here's a fun thing, because I am a level 4 warrior, and I have all sorts of perks and things. It says here, martial artist. When you have advantage on attacks, you may stunt an attack on the same turn. So tell me more about stunts.
So a stunt, there's not really a defined rule set for what a stunt is. A stunt is anything that you wish to do that would constitute some sort of extra advantage or give you some leg up in the current situation. So that might be shoving someone backwards into an obstacle, or involving some sort of breakable object that you could, smash their face into, trip them, grab them, and restrain them. Any sort of thing that you can imagine happening in a good Hong Kong movie, you can probably roll into stunts.
Okay, well, I have a good idea for a stunt. It's not that complicated, but I have an idea for that. So, but I shall roll my attack roll first.
Yeah, go. Well, you can. Okay. Yeah, you can do both of them. So, you can do whichever order you prefer.
Sure. Well, I think I'm gonna try to clobber them first, and I also because Krankfour magicked up my mace, I get an advantage on the stack roll. Nice. Let's see. That's a 6. I'm gonna need that advantage, and 4. So with the 6, with my strength is a 9.
A 9. So that is not going to do it for your attack, unfortunately. Okay. Now this is like one of the places where Rasp of Sand and Knave come into slight conflict, because in Knave you can only get advantage once on something. But in Rasp of Sand, you can get advantage on things multiple times. And I did give you a situational advantage for your ruse, but you also have advantage from the fact that the mace is magic. So why don't you make another roll on that to see if you can close the deal on this amazing plan.
I believe in you.
I got a 14.
Okay, that's a lot better.
Okay.
14 plus, or is it a total of 14?
Total of 14, sadly.
Total of 14 is going to be a hit against this leader Dolopod. So go ahead and roll me some damage.
Okay. 4.
4 damage.
Fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah, it's good.
Damage is good. Bring your mace down. I don't know what the nature of your stunt is, and so you can describe how you clobber, how you land the hit, and in what part of its which one of its vital organs you place the mace. But
I place the mace as close to a cetacean temple as I possibly can. So as this one comes over, as my right arm comes in with the mace and clobbers him there, The other arm holding the crown swings back and tosses it as high in the air as I can. So that will hopefully distract the other dolphins.
All right, that sounds pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna make some die rolls here, but you've definitely got their attention because they want that crown. What is your charisma defense?
My charisma defense is 13.
13. That's a pretty good charisma defense. All right. So the dolphins are looking up at the crown like but we're not going to see what they actually do yet until their round. So let's move on. Who else wants to act?
I would like to act.
Krankfour, what would you like to do?
Yes, I'd like to do something I haven't done yet. My first level ability, which is Sandblast. And I will spend 100 valuable points of sand to blast a creature with high velocity sand for 1d10 bludgeoning damage.
So this is not experience points. This is actual sand that you're carrying?
This is, yes, it should be. So I guess that's not the experience sand then. Never mind.
No. Sand that you've imbibed is your experience points, but sand that you can also carry sand as currency.
Yeah,
sorry, I hate to kill the joy on that one.
No, that's all right. I don't believe I've been carrying sand then. So, in that case,
you've been eating it all.
Yeah, but the sand that you've found that you've chosen to not leave behind you, you have imbibed.
Mm-hmm. In that case, I'm going to just take this up. Is talking a free action still?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Great. I want to make the loudest echolocation noise I can.
All right. Sure. So, like, just sort of yelling into the wilderness, the equivalent of going ah.
Yeah, specifically in Dolphin, or at least in their manner of speech.
Right. So, sure. That's interesting. Yeah. So you yell out in Dolphin, and they definitely are like looking at you like, what is going on with this strange surface monkey man that he's making these odd sounds. But they're actually you might elicit more of a reaction, but they're kind of like all looking up at this like suspended in the air bullet time crown that looks like it's going to be coming down to the ground pretty soon. Clarabelle, what would you like to do?
I would like to jam a slug into my mouth and see what happens.
Awesome. So this is, I think that I know the remaining slug that you have. So let's just confirm here.
It's a green
this
slug.
Is the green one with black stripes. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this one, I'm just going to look up the actual literal spell effect for. But you're so you eat the slug, it goes into your mouth, and it slides down your throat in a really, really icky manner, and you feel really good. You just feel really great. Have you suffered any damage right now?
I had 3 points. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, and your third level? Second level. Okay, so you're totally healed.
Oh, lovely.
And yeah, you feel just really great, like real sense of euphoria. Like things just couldn't be better in the world right now, where you have dolphins who have jumped you and look like they're looking for any excuse to claw you apart. Okay, so the leader dolphin is unswayed by the antics with the crown and the distraction. Actually, you know what, Ian, what is Krankfour's charisma defense?
Charisma defense is 11.
Okay. So what I am doing for the benefit of the chat, I am rolling saves against your charisma defense to see if you are able to elicit any sort of effect on the dolphins. So of the 4 dolphins, all 3 that were in your original party, the non-leader dolphins, are doing the sort of the cartoon like running around the pantomime, running around trying to catch the crown.
Game and Watch style.
Maybe like trying to smashing into each other. Sorry, I've got a couch right behind me, or I would actually try and run back and forth, but across the camera. They're really trying to stop the crown from landing on the ground, and that's going to successfully distract them. The leader is not taken in by this and is still focused on you. And he's pretty mad, Flan, that you just smashed him over the head. But he's also like, he's definitely like hearing something that doesn't agree with him very much. And so that's maybe distracting him a little bit. He is nonetheless going to attack you. And it looks like a lot of these dolphins equipment, you're now noticing they have the 4 of them have spears. He has an eku, and it actually looks like it might be one that was made in your village. Like it's potentially a human-made eku that was not originally of the dolphins. Anyway, he is taking that, and he is going to try and take your head off with it.
Okay.
But he is, as I say, suffering a little bit. I don't think that a 10 is going to hit you, so I think you're probably okay on this particular attack.
Okay.
All right. That takes us... Oh, and let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. So the... but he's got disadvantage. Yeah, okay. So the 2 dolphins try and grab the crown and miss. They both do the sort of like catch or grab, dive to the ground, just about catch it, but don't quite. And then the third one would have caught it, except for he was using the stub where his arm used to be to grab it. So probably if he had an arm, he would have got it, but instead he missed it, swiped with his other arm, missed, and looks pretty crestfallen. So the crown lands on the ground. You've I want to say that in the last few runs, this crown has been through a lot. From what you know, it's pretty hard to actually put a dent in it. So it seems pretty okay after all that. But no one caught the crown. Let's roll initiative for the next round. Krankfour, can I nominate you?
Absolutely. Wish you hadn't. 1.
1. All right. So they're going to attack you. We've got 4 dolphins. The big one is going to be on Flan, and then we'll say that the other 2 of you get 1 each, and then someone else is going to get the one-armed one as well. The blackjack doll. No, not the blackjack. The
Cobra.
one-armed bandit. The slot machine dolphin.
I
right.
want to listen to Slot Machine Dolphin. I bet they've got some great ska tracks. I bet
So Andy, the dolphin with the eku definitely plants a very solid hit on you.
Okay.
An extremely solid hit. It's so good, in fact, that it takes off part of your armor. I don't recall what kind of armor you're wearing, but it puts it like tears off. It's like chainmail or something.
Yeah, I've got the scale armor.
All right, so yeah, it tears some of the scales right off of it. So this is going to actually only do 3 points of damage, but it's also going to remove a durability from your armor. This is a crit, by the way. So a crit, basically, it's not actually more damaging, but it does eat into your resources somewhat, which can be pretty detrimental.
So that's going to take 1 quality off of my armor. Is that what you said?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
and that carries over to other generations if you hand it down or whatever.
Excellent. Well, I also have this this parry ability, which I just got with this 4th generation warrior thing. When hit with an attack, you may sacrifice a point of quality on your armor to reduce the damage by 1d6 per point. So could I also sacrifice, because I've got lots of quality on this I'd be happy to go down to a quality 3 to use that ability.
Sure,
and
yeah, you
alleviate
can.
some of that damage.
You can absolutely do that.
Okay, so for that, I roll one d. Let's see if I because I'm bad at knowing rules and applying them. When hit with an attack, you may sacrifice a point of quality on your armor to reduce the damage by 1d6 per point. So I guess I roll
so you've
1d6.
Yeah, you got 2 points of damage that you can theoretically prevent. And so by sacrificing a quality, you roll a d6 and you prevent that much damage. Now, up to you whether you think this is enough to merit that ability, because this is a pretty small potatoes attack, as it turns out, as far as damage is concerned. But every little bit could help in the long run. So
Sure. I think I'm going to do that just because I don't know how long Flan will survive, and I've got an extra 3 points on after this on my armor anyway. So let's do that. So here goes the d6.
Yep.
That's a 4.
Okay, so you prevent all the damage. You manage to like rotate yourself in such a way that that your armor takes the entire hit.
Amazing.
This is a really cool use of a old school D&D rule called shields shall be sundered, which basically says if you have a shield and you take a hit, you can let your shield be smashed to smithereens to avoid taking any damage from it. So this is a neat sort of adaptation of that rule. I like it a lot.
Nice.
Nice. So that'll work out well. You're also going to get an attack from the one-armed bandit. But it has disadvantage, so it is using a spear, but it's not able to counterbalance it properly, and it sort of digs into the ground next to you. The other two of you, Krankfour and Clarabelle, you are also getting attacked. These dolphins also have spears. What are your armor defenses, Krankfour?
13.
13? Okay, so... All right, so I've got the first one goes after Krankfour, and the spear gets caught up in one of the bits of seaweed and doesn't quite manage to connect to you. The other one, unfortunately, manages to gore Clarabelle. See how badly? Not too bad. It's not too bad. So it goes like under your arm a little bit, slices off a little bit, but it's a flesh wound. It doesn't seriously go deep for 2 points of damage.
Okay.
How are you doing, Clarabelle, for hit points at the moment?
7 now.
Okay.
Clarabelle just slugged, remember? So
yeah.
But that brings us back to you folks.
Well, all I have now is a dagger.
I have a question about actions.
Yes.
As well as attacks. I have a bear trap.
Mm-hmm.
Would it take me more than one turn to prepare and throw this bear trap?
Interesting. So I like where this is going. It's I think that you could probably take one of your turns to pull out the bear trap and kind of like prime it. It takes a lot of strength to actually open a bear trap. So I'm inclined to say that probably you can use your entire turn to take it out and prime it, but if you can make a strength save, you can do it fast enough to throw it at something.
So good. Okay, so that's
Very
a d20.
excited.
Yeah.
All right.
These 20, add your strength, you're going for a 15.
I have rolled a 17, a cumulative 20.
Wonderful. All right. So with like devastating rapidity, you manage to reach into your bag, you pull the bear trap out, and you just like prime that thing faster than anything or anyone could ever imagine priming a bear trap, because that's no mean feat. So the trigger clicks into place, and you still have the action necessary to do whatever you want with this freshly primed bear trap.
Well, this fancy dolphin boy just took off like 2 big chunks out of my armor. I spent hours and hours detailing this. That cannot stand. So I go, oh! I whip out the bear trap, prime it, and throw it at his head.
Claws up, Flan!
Go ahead and make me an attack roll with the bear trap.
Yeah.
Bear trap attack roll.
Absolutely.
I think that this is it's difficult to tell. I think that this is like somewhere around. Okay, this is a missile weapon, so it would be wisdom, but you can make it with advantage because it's like I feel like the necessary precision that you're looking for here is not very high. So go ahead and make me a wisdom attack with advantage.
Okay, thank you very much. You're a benevolent and fun DM. Let's go. That is a 6. Come on. 13 with wisdom is a 15. That's +2.
Okay, so this thing snaps onto the dolphin's head, and it's the dolphin's skull is like hard enough that it's able to hold this thing open. Like it's got this whole echo chamber sinus situation going on, but it is. It seems to be trying to like snort out its blowhole, and that's not working out so well. Air is coming out of places that it's not supposed to come out, and
It's turning red.
What does that mean in octopus?
Why don't you roll 2d6 damage for me?
2d6 damage. Okay. Well, we'll do. Whoa! I wish I had a camera because this is 10. I rolled a 10. That's 2d6 cumulative 10.
Okay, so the big dolphin is not dead. It is very upset. It is very rattled after getting a bear trap to the head, but it still remains alive. You don't think that it can see very well though at this point, or coordinate itself. Krankfour and Clarabelle, do you have anything that you'd like to do?
I have a dagger, and that is my only offensive ability. I want to shank the big one that has the nice armor while it is heavily distracted.
Yeah, it's not so much armor as just like an ornamental jewelry piece that involves scales, but yeah, you can still shank it nonetheless.
Okay.
Go ahead and make me an attack roll. You can have advantage because it can't see right now.
Or possibly ever again.
Or possibly ever again.
17 total.
Okay, that's going to hit. Roll me some damage.
And this is 1d6. A 3.
All right. A2 Brute, the big dolphin. The bear trap didn't do it, but the dagger to the back drives the point home.
Nice.
Right in the blowhole.
Yay!
Perfect. Yeah, you can run up the side of the dolphin and just pop the dagger down in there to land the finishing blow. And as in such a satisfying way, sand just geysers out of the dolphin's mouth and blowhole and new orifices as well, and it falls to the ground. And the other dolphins look somewhat stunned.
At which point I will yell at the dolphins, "He was not part of the prophecy!"
So the one of the dolphins is going to grab the crown off the ground and pick it up and start running away. A second dolphin is going to use its horrible noise at you. It's as we've discovered before, they're like really, really nasty noise I can't make with my mouth. Paralyzing, hurting noise, which I believe is a Constitution save from everyone. But I will just double confirm that. Yes, it was a con save. Yeah. So if I can get all of you to make a con save against that.
16.
16's good.
Crit 20.
20?
Crit.
Krankfour?
Yeah.
15.
15. You're all good. So none of you actually, this doesn't actually succeed at paralyzing any of you. So those two, and then that one moves away, and then the one-armed bandit also moves away. So all three of them are trying to make a hasty escape with the crown.
Now we go after them, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess we're rolling initiative again. No, wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait, it's your turn because they won initiative that time, right?
Yes.
No, wait a minute. You smashed them. I just allowed them to go an extra time. So you should go. I forgot to roll initiative is the actual answer. So you should go now. And then we'll figure out who gets to go next time.
Okay. If someone's chasing after this dolphin with the crown, I could throw my grappling hook at it and try to catch him before he goes.
Yeah, that's definitely an option if you want to hog tie him. The first step would be catching him in the old lariat.
Sure.
Or throw it at the crown itself and yank it away.
Either way, get a grappling hook into that dolphin.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. I'm going to maybe ideally get the crown, but definitely tossing it at this dolphin who is running away because that's the MacGuffin. We need that one. So here we go. I'm rolling for is this wisdom because it's a projectile?
I'll give it like wisdom or dexterity in this case. You choose which one you want to do.
I think I shall choose dexterity.
All right.
Let's see. Thank you very much. Here we go. I rolled a critical hit.
Okay,
I have a 20.
So do you want to grab the dolphin and trip it, or do you want to grab the crown? Because I'll allow you to do either.
That is this is what I would like to do. I imagine this dolphin is running like a human does, I guess.
Yeah.
But like sprinting. And the dolphin, so the arms are sort of coming up and down. One of them is holding the crown. I would like to catch it as it comes up here by its head. And then what I assumed is a 3-prong grappling hook. One prong is going through the crown, the other through the eye of the dolphin. And I am just going to latch on and pull back as hard as I can.
Well, with a critical success, I think that I'm going to let that. I'll let something happen. It's along those lines. You grab the dolphin.
I also have a +6 to Dex, so it's a 26.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you grab that dolphin. You pull it backwards. It gets yanked right off its feet. The crown. We'll say that it like maybe it doesn't go right through the eye, but it like scrapes along the side of its head in a very, it's gonna leave a mark. If you see this dolphin again, you'll know it because it'll be the one with the big scar across its face, like a Bond villain. And you grab the crown and drag it backwards across the ground. And you can bring it basically right back to you.
Yeah.
Krankfour and Clarabelle.
Hey, do I have time to pick up some of that sand left by that big dolphin and? I know that this is weird. Not eat it this time.
Yeah, you can pick up some of it. You're not going to be able to pick up all of it because it's quite a bit. But you can sort of scoop it up.
Okay, how much am I going to get from that? Is the big question.
Let's call it like 1d4 times 100.
Cool.
And like 100 would be kind of hard to carry in your hand. I'm kind of like not sure of the like actual volume to like amount ratio of the sand. But I'll say 1d4 times 100 as you sort of like scrabble to pick it up and figure out a way to support it. Maybe you use like your shirt or something.
I mean, I've probably got some sort of a pouch of some sort. I'm guessing. I have to carry.
The pouch is your mouth.
No, I've got that air bladder. Let's open that up and fill it with sand.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I now have 400 sand. Cool.
Sweet. There's still a little bit left on the ground, but not much.
That's fine. Does that constitute my action for the turn then?
Probably if you're pulling the air bladder out and doing it, then yeah, it does.
That makes sense. Then.
Retrieving it from your bag and then filling it all up.
No
Clarabelle.
I want to intercept anyone that's trying to get the crown that's dragging across the ground, like any of the dolphins, if they're like turning back to snatch it back. And basically do an attack of opportunity dagger if they try it.
Sure. I mean, like there's not really like a ready action system, but I think that it makes sense that if one of them is gonna like come like after the crown, you can dive on it and smash it with your dagger. There is one lying backwards on the ground while the other two are scampering. So. But that does not really constitute crawling after it. So in case you wanted to do something to that one, it's maybe in a more advantageous position. But yeah, let's So I did a bad and let the bad guys go first last round when it should have been an initiative roll. So what we'll do is I'm going to get you to roll initiative, and on a 1 or a 2, the bad guys get to go first, but on a 3, 4, 5, or 6, you can get to go first. I think it is Flan's turn this time.
Okay, we'll do.
I believe in you.
Yep. Dropped it on the floor. That's a 5.
5. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, we'll play it as it lies. So
Okay.
5. It's your initiative.
Cool. Oh, what horrible things can I do? How many are left?
So there's 3. There's the one-armed one and another one who you encountered before and are like running off into like out through the door that you came through, probably going back up to the previous floor where you originally met them. And then there's the other one who you just pulled the crown away from, who is still lying supine. Is that the word I'm looking for? On the ground, on its back, and has not yet had a chance to right itself.
Right. Ooh. I'm going to walk over, mace in hand, and just shaking my head and going, oh, they taught me at art school so good. And I'm going to raise the mace over my head and come down to smash it like a frickin' Gallagher show. Just right on that cetacean head.
Okay, you can take it. You can take advantage on this hit because it's it's on its back. It's already been gored by your previous attack. Go for it.
Thank you. Now is this advantage with my additional advantage I get for it being a magical mace?
Right. I guess it would be. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay.
This seems like way too easy to hit. So maybe we should like update this ruling a little bit. Why don't we say that you can only get one advantage on an attack, but you may apply the other advantage to your damage if you prefer, or if you wish. So you can get one advantage on the attack, one advantage on the damage.
I like that. That's a good rule.
Yeah.
Let's go here. That is a 12 plus strength is 3.
Okay, that's enough to bash it.
That's enough to bash it. So let's do advantage on the damage then.
Yeah.
Poor boy, poor dolphin man. I got an 8. No advantage needed.
All right. So this dolphin had already been damaged in the previous encounter. It had healed up a little bit, but it had not fully healed up. Then it had a nasty grappling hook pulled through its head, and now it is just being brained. So it is just going to sort of like loot pinata some sand up into the air. It reaches a nice satisfying height as it capitulates to its wounds.
And I go, oh, my professors would be proud.
Krankfour, the other 2 dolphins have they moved basically. There was the one that yelled, and it's moved sort of like a little ways away, but it you can get to it in one action and punch it if you were feeling like punching something. It hasn't moved far enough away for it to get out of range. I'm not saying that you're like a punching sort of person, but like if you wanted to get up and twiddle its nose or whatever, it is close enough that you could do that. The other one has moved somewhat farther away, so you would probably need to spend basically your full round to get up to it in order to catch it.
Friends, are we set on just busting these guys up? Chumming these up?
I feel like we aren't pretending to be good people anymore, so sure.
Great. I will start striding towards the one who's closer by.
Okay. You can definitely get up to it.
Yeah. And now we'll do the sand blast.
All right. So what does this do? Let's tell the audience, but also tell me, what does the sandblast do?
So as I stride toward the dolphin, I take about 100 level of sand out of my bag, point it in front of me in my fist, and open my hand, releasing it at high velocity through my magician's powers, and causing 1d10 bludgeoning damage that it may make a dex save against. Well, to save for half the damage.
All right, it does not successfully make a dexterity save to take half damage.
Uh-oh. Then it is taking 8 damage.
All right, so it is scoured by sand. So you take this magical sand that is like the life force of everything in the universe, and you just fire it out at this dolphin, and it dolphins, they're not known to have like thin skin. They've got like pretty thick, rubbery, nice cetaceous skin. And you just create these like horrible streaky patterns in the back of this dolphin that is like moving away from you, obviously, that so that it looks like almost like a tiger, with all these like awful streaks of not necessarily like wounds, but like torn away, like where it's like gone right down to the fatty layer underneath its skin, with like gradations of gray, because you know the sand chaos theory, it moves in all sorts of different ways. But ouch, and that you're pretty sure that maybe you can even see some bone protruding there. It is, and it's sort of like doubled over, it's probably we'll keep going. So yeah, that it's very, very badly hurt by this. Not super appreciative. Clarabelle.
God, Krankfour, that was the most terrifying pocket sand maneuver I've ever seen. As I run up and stab it in the back.
Clarabelle attempting a second kill steal. Go for it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please make an attack.
Oh yeah, I have to roll dice to do this.
You do have to roll dice to do this. I rolled the dice for the last time, and these dolphins not rolling super hot tonight. Not doing the best.
Well, I rolled a 16 plus 4, so got that 20.
Definitely a successful hit. Why don't you do some damage?
Time to kill with 2 damage.
Okay, so Clarabelle, dagger in the blowhole, manages to not quite. You take your dagger and you're like, haha, I'm gonna do it again, and you manage to implant it into the back of the thing, and it takes a little bit of doing to get it out, because you must have hit like a bit of cartilage or bone or something like that, but it's not quite enough to confirm the kill on it. It's still alive and wheezing and rasping, and it's gonna go. It's gonna put its claw-like dolphin-y hand over that, and it's like trying to. It's hurting all over, and it's not quite sure how to react to it. So it's like moving with sort of a rolling gait as it staggers back toward the entrance of the kelp forest. Wait a minute. So they've got initiative now, and it's going, mercy, 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 as it moves away. The other one that was farther away from it has just like taken off toward the stairs. It's going to be quite difficult to catch at this point. This one is still like close enough that you could probably go and confirm the kill if you're feeling like mean people, or you could let it go. That is up to you. Let's roll initiative for the next and probably final round of this combat. Clarabelle.
We're not good people, are we? 4.
I mean, I'm trying to figure this out.
It's you. It's your turn.
Clarabelle, we could keep this last one alive to show us where the Deep Queen is. Flan says in a blood rage.
That seems merciful, but so does death with these sand cuts. Krankfour, what do you think?
I'm inclined to give it the opportunity to help us.
Okay, let's do a good thing to balance out the bad.
So how does this work? How does getting it to help us work?
I could
I'm just holding the dagger over its blowhole.
Well, so it's
As a
managed to
sword
like
of
stagger a little
Damocles.
ways away from you now, but yeah,
Okay.
you're. But yeah, so it's yelling for mercy and staggering away from you. But yeah, you go ahead. I just want to clarify the situation.
Okay, I guess instead of looming over it like that, just like running up and getting a knife at its throat. I guess I'm
Okay.
a rogue.
Throat on a dolphin.
Yeah. And then just kind of leveraging it that way.
Okay. Krankfour, Flan, are you contributing to this effort?
Yeah, sure. I will go up and take my rope and what you've got. It's the knife to the throat. I'm going to start tying him up with my length of rope.
Okay. Mercy! 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 Mercy!
You will receive the mercy and the blessings of all involved if you properly submit now to the returning party.
Yes! Yes, I submit to the returning party! Yeah, I have submission. I have submission. Submission is to you. Yes, yes. I submit.
Submission to the Deep Queen.
Yes, yes. I submit to the Deep Queen. Yes, yes. Yes, I submit. Yes, I always submit to the Deep Queen. And your deities as well.
And you will lead us directly to her now with none of this shenanigan.
I cannot do this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying you want to feel more of the wrath of the Deep Queen as you just did?
No, I cannot do because I do not know where.
Then do you know who would know?
Points to the big dolphin with the nice necklace on the ground.
Okay, we need to rest here for a while, friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
For at least a couple of rests.
Sure. Should we put this guy out of his misery? Should we?
I will leave, and I will not bother you again.
You, or your children, or your children's children, for 8 generations.
I will tell stories about the evil monkey men who came from above the water and whipped my ass so bad that I can't feel my fins.
Good. And I untie the dolphin person.
Okay, he scampers off.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Well, I'm going to go fetch my bear trap, and I will kiss it and say, "Good boy," and put that away.
It takes some doing to like pry it out of the head of the big. Like this is not going to be a pretty operation. Not saying you can't do it. It's just
Certainly,
it's not,
yeah.
It's not a pleasant
gonna be easy.
experience. Yeah.
And is there still that lovely what was it, a necklace, the pearlescent necklace, or was
Yeah,
it
it's sort of a shiny like fish scale patterned necklace made of mother of pearl, so it's got a nice shimmery cast about it.
Excellent. Well, Flan is going to also pick that up and go, yes, pretty for mommy. Good.
Cover up the damage on your armor.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Good. She's really taking a turn. She's after all of this, it just might take her a little while to calm down.
I was gonna say you were like talking about like you're like just like in art school. Who were your instructors in art school exactly?
Oh, art instructors can be vicious, just psychologically brutal, and I think it served her well down here.
Clarabelle considered it the more civilized path to go into sports.
Just knowing knowing the faculty of art in this particular college.
Yeah.
So did I catch that you wanted to rest for a little while?
Before that,
actually.
Mm-hmm. Just while Flan's retrieving the bear trap, I see a tasty snack that I need to get into.
So Krankfour, which are you eating? All the sand, or are you eating the sand of the leader dolphin, or
the sand
just
of the
some
leader
of the
dolphin? And after we're done that, then I'll go and refill up my air bladder.
Okay, so and are you eating all of it or just some of it?
I think this time I got to eat all of it.
I guess like you actually can't eat all of it because you already used some of it to sandblast. So so you wouldn't actually be able, just so you're aware, with regard to like the mutations and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to eat all of it this time. But you can definitely have a taste.
That's all I'm hoping for.
Okay. This sand, I'll say like you're 100 sand in, and it seems like very similar to the other sand that you ate from the dolphins. Right. I was not like giving you the sort of like impressions of things from the dolphin perspective, as I had intended to be. So yeah, you're feeling like you have a greater sense of the space around you. It almost feels like you occupy a smaller place in the rooms that you're in. They feel almost more vast as you can sort of discern every like little bit of them a little bit more. You have sort of antagonistic feelings as related to the person who lived in this temple. You don't like this building very much. It means something bad to you, and you feel some real sympathy pain when you look and see the bodies of the very maimed dolphins that you have left on the ground, and see how much their head cavities have been caved in. That said, even like 100 sand in, you're not feeling anything like of particular difference with regard to eating more sand from this dolphin. I will tell you that the big dolphin had 500 sand, and the little dolphins had 400, or the little dolphin had 400 sand. Normal sized dolphin had 400 sand. So you've blasted 100 and you've eaten 100. You have 700 dolphin sand left. If anyone else wants to eat it, there's also that.
That's hard because experience points are good, but I'm looking at Krankfour and he's becoming a piece of art, and I'm not sure I want to be a piece of art. I want to be an artist.
I was hoping to get some information about where the Queen's lair might be.
You have you're not getting any information in that gives you the slightest inkling that the dolphin has even the tiniest knowledge of where the Queen might be.
Oh, okay.
The dolphin seems to know a lot about the level above you, and it's not actually even very comfortable down in this area. You've got very few memories down here, and any time that it's been and your general feeling is like maybe that dolphin in particular, or these dolphins didn't come down here super often.
Bite on the meadow.
See.
So there's plenty of sand for everyone if you like.
Yeah, like, is there any way to hold this without like a sack? Can we fill our pockets up, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that a sack is you can find a sack. Like you've probably got a sack of some sort. So everyone has to hold something. So you brought a bag. You can assume that some of your stuff is in there, but you can also hold some sand in there. I'll also remind you that if you dilute the sand with the sand from another creature, you can eat it without worrying about mutation. It is only if you eat all of the pure sand from one creature that you are subject to mutation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can eat this without worrying about that.
Well, this is like all dolphin sand, so maybe there's a sort of worry there if you don't want to mutate, because it's definitely all sand from one creature. But if you were able to find some, like, I don't know, octopus sand or something like that, being that you're hard boiled, you can just go track down that octopus and kill it, and then mix the sand up and. But anyway, so something to think about.
Sure. Well, yeah, I stuff as much sand as I can, leaving equal parts for everyone else into my bag.
Okay, so one of you has 300, and the other two get 200, or you can split it up some more granular way.
I'll take the 300, if only because I desperately need ammunition.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That seems good. Now, if you want to take a rest, this is a good time for us to take a bit of a break, given that my daughter's going to be going to bed pretty quick. You might be able to hear her a little bit in the background. I don't know how much my mic has been picking up. She came for a visit a little bit earlier. Always very interested by the strange voices that Daddy makes during these late night meetings. So I'm going to say that be a good time for me to take a break. And when we come back, you can, or while we're on our break, you can figure out how you want to rest and what you want to do from here. And we will reconvene shortly.
Great, thank you.
All right, see you soon, chat. And we're back. Welcome back to the after intermission period of A Rasp of Sand, episode 4. So after really very effectively, shockingly effectively dispatching those dolphins, Paul was pointing out during the break that Andy, you were rolling very, very hot.
Yes, that was... Whew, I got in the flow, man. I got in the artistic flow state, and just the blood and the sand came at me. It was great.
So yeah, between some like extremely high rolls and just a lot of like stacked up advantage and whatnot, you have managed to dispatch these dolphins. You've got a couple of dolphin corpses that you have looted the sand from, and you were going to take a break. You're going to have a bit of a rest. Can you describe to me? Okay, actually, one thing that I was had been thinking about was supposed to happen after you left the octopus cave, and I totally forgot. Your light spell has expired. So if you would like to leave it as expired, the area around you is going to be pretty murky, difficult to see through. If you have some other way of seeing, you could use that. Or if your light has more charges, which I believe it might, you can always use one of those.
If this is the first charge expiring, I do have 2 left on that one.
Okay,
so I'll re-up it when it's time for us to leave.
Yeah. Were you looking to shelter inside the temple while you rest, or were you just going to hang out here with the bodies? And were you going to do anything with the bodies while you rest?
Well, we've harvested the sand.
I would like to arrange them in a very disturbing pattern on the ground. that is sort of artistically expressive of my blood rage that I felt. Unless anyone else would like to do something with them.
I was thinking making rations, but sure.
Ooh, that is a good idea. Because that's what I was going to do with my rest is to forage for rations. With these,
we could say that your foraging for rations is that you're cutting some bits of delicious dolphin off. Let me see. What do you normally get from foraging? You normally get.
I think it's just one ration unless you're the cook, right?
Well, would you look at that dolphin meat?
I think that you are right, that you just get one normally. So why don't we say that if you want to cook down a dolphin, I will give you. You can make a wisdom save, and if you pass, you get 2 instead because you've got fresh meat to work from.
Cool. Well, then I
Hardly have to
suppose
look at it. Yeah.
do a wisdom save. Then let's go. I got a 19.
Okay, so yeah, you can cook that. You can cook down some of this. Cut some of the delicious fat and muscle off, and wrap it up in some of the seaweed. Maybe find some like dried out seaweed to wrap it in, and get
Top
some
notch sushi. There we go. It was
some
gonna be good.
some delicious dolphin belly sushi. Sorry, was Clarabelle kind of going to try and do the same thing, or?
Clarabelle still has 2 rations, so I think she's fine for now for that. Probably just like heal up back to full.
And so I asked what you were doing. I guess you were besides arranging the dolphins and like cutting supplies out of them, were you planning to shelter in the temple or like just amongst the seaweed that is slowly regenerating?
I know we feel very bad when we're in the temple. Like we just feel crappy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not a feeling of fear. It's more a fear of like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, if we stay in the temple, we won't be able to see anyone coming. Remember how twice now we just got jumped by people coming out of temples?
Yeah.
That's true. We've had very bad luck with that. Could somebody rest near a window or something, or stand guard?
I'm going to be working on my pearls, so I can just do that out the front door, if that would work.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. So the 2 of you are inside, like sort of trying to prepare your rations, and Krankfour is doing the scrimshaw out on the porch. Out on the porch, maybe in a rocking chair, doing some scrimshaw.
Grab a little piece of kelp, just stick it between my teeth.
Yeah.
So Krankfour, you're like out there on the porch. You're doing your thing, and like you get the sense that maybe the kelp's moving a bit. But no, it's probably just your imagination. There's quite a bit of movement again. I don't know. Like, is there wind down here? Difficult to tell. Also, you were not going to refresh your light spell. So until you were leaving, right? So
that was the idea. Yeah.
Pretty dim down
dark.
here. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to see. Shadows moving around and whatnot.
Put out a pulse.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you from inside the temple, you hear sort of a dolphin sound. Go ahead, Krankfour. Tell them what they hear. Give me the sweet dolphin sound. Tell me what your echolocation sounds like. Oh, that's really good. Thank
you.
So that's amazing. So yeah. So first of all, there's 2 people and something that looks like it's a statue in the temple behind you. Mm-hmm. And then in amongst the seaweed around you are a bunch of quickly moving things. They're about the size of a fire hydrant. I'm trying to think of something that would be more appropriate for in-game knowledge, but yeah, they're the size of like a
buoy.
By not referencing animals, yeah, a buoy. Sure, they're probably a little bit bigger than a buoy, but yeah, they're like a meter long maybe, and moving around quite quickly through the seaweed. They kind of vary in size. There's some that are slightly smaller.
Okay.
You all right, Krankfour?
There are things out there that
They're
are.
always
They're not the things that we know about either.
there are always things out there that aren't the things that we know about. It sucks.
Oh, you are equally concerned as I am. I was afraid that you were going to dismiss that out of hand.
No, it's
Because
very.
no, I should be very clear. These things are closer to us than normal.
Oh, damn it! Okay, and I put down the sushi. And I wander out onto Krankfour's scrimshaw porch, and I scream out, just, "What now? What? What?"
So out of the seaweed come running a small creature that is very hard to see because it's dark. But as it gets closer to the front of the temple, you can definitely see that it is not, in fact, a raccoon. That is the best analog that I can actually think of for the kind of movement that you're getting from these kind of creatures. When you like look at when you're like walking along and you like look down the road and you're like, oh, it's a cat. No, it's a raccoon. Oh, get away. It's running along in that fashion. It are some daughters. There are the dog otters. There are looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then as with raccoons, sometimes out of the bushes pop some babies. So running after the adults, and they are coming out, and assuming that you've left somewhat of a mess, they're going to start sniffing around the dolphin carcasses, and you know, kind of gnawing at them and tentatively taking off little bits. The babies are getting in there, and the mom's showing them where to find the guts, and they're scavenging.
Isn't nature beautiful, Krankfour?
Cover your food, Flan.
I love it when a good plan comes together.
That's heartwarming. Well, I take it back, universe. You don't suck as much as I thought.
Small moments of joy stolen under an inky, starless sky.
So they're going to do their thing while you finish up your rest, and presuming you don't interfere with them, they're gonna eat their fill and wander off back into the seaweed after a bit.
In Rasp of Sand, you do not pet the dog.
They make very cute noises too. They make little, especially the little puppy ones. Again, somewhere near, like otters are not the most talkative creatures, but they do make sort of a chirping sound that's very, very endearing. This is somewhere between that. We'll say it's like right between that and like the Shiba Inu kind of chirping sound. And you get the picture. So
they always make nice sounds when they aren't angry, but when they're angry, gotta watch out.
So yeah, that's you can finish up your rest and all the stuff that you were doing. And what would you like to do after that?
It occurs to me that you had mentioned that this king or this priest dolphin had a cool looking eku.
Yeah.
That what maybe was from the surface. Is that still there? Could I get a better look at that?
Yeah, 100%. It is an eku that looks like it is human made, made by potentially your people. In fact, you can't see like a mark on it, at least without disassembling it. But it does look like it is a very familiar design and something that would be potentially built above the surface. It doesn't look overly like nicely made. It was mostly just notable because it doesn't look like it was made by the dolphins or like picked off a piece of coral or something.
Sure. Okay. Anyone? I like my mace. Does anybody want an echo?
It'll be an upgrade to a dagger, unless Krankfour has more to gain.
I already have an eku, so unless this one is enchanted, it's all yours, Clarabelle.
I take it.
All right, you got it.
All right.
All right. I think we've picked the bones off this place pretty much.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else.
I think we should leave.
Okay.
Sweet. So this this area only has. Oh, you know what? There's this was the only entrance to this area. So to get out of here, you'll actually have to go back through the clearing that you had gone through before. The kelp that grows around here is like the like really big, thick tree-like stuff. So it really makes it quite difficult to get in from any side other than the one that you entered from.
Good call.
So assuming that you go back the way that you came,
It's the only entrance.
yep. It's going to again take quite a bit of work to cut your way through here in sort of a different direction. You can get more back toward the shrine that you had found before without too much trouble, but to get to like try and find a different exit, you definitely need to do a little bit more bushwhacking.
I think we'll just have to plow ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you start hacking away at the plant life that is around you, and as sorry, just making sure that I've got this totally down. As you're hacking away at this stuff, it's coming away. Is anyone like standing? Like, what are you all doing? Are you all working on the cutting? Are you just like bushwhacking through sort of as a unit to try and make as quick progress as possible? Are you keeping a watch? Is I guess part of what I'm asking.
I don't think we are.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to interrupt and correct me.
I mean, honestly, this is a very dangerous place. I imagine Clarabelle's got the machete hacking through things.
Yeah.
And I don't have any cutting implement on me, so I might not be like. I've got definitely an ear and an eye open because this is a very dangerous place, but I don't think I'm harshly surveying around me.
Okay, that's good enough. So, out of the corner of your eye, Flan, at some point during this cutting process, you see you've got the light spell going right now, right? Like you used another charge.
Yeah.
Okay, that's important. You get the impression of some movement behind you, and you sort of like look behind, and you see a bright colors. There's like this swirling pattern spiral that is kind of suspended in the air somewhere over there, and it just looks so gosh darn fascinating. You've never quite seen color like this before. It is really bizarre. Can I get you to make a charisma saving throw, please?
You sure can. Come on. What was my charisma? I had a +3. Okay.
Cha, cha, cha. All of us?
No, that is an 11.
Okay, so you get the impression that a really, really good idea would be to just stop what you're doing and like saying anything and just walk towards the pattern.
Okay.
So you do that. Can I get like a wisdom saving throw from Krankfour and Clarabelle, who are busy hacking away at their vines while this is happening?
24 for Krankfour.
Okay. All right. So, Krankfour, you get the impression suddenly that Flan is not next to you. That's pretty weird. Flan was like right there, keeping a watch, but now she's gone. And you look around, and behind you, there's this bizarre pattern of spiraling colors, and it's moving in quite an interesting, dancey way. And Flan is just sort of walking towards it. Is the impression that you get right before you make a wisdom or a charisma saving throw, please?
Oh no, that's a 5.
All right. So
this is how we die. This is how we die. Sparkly lights. This is how we die.
So you're also feeling like it would be a really good idea to just drop what you're doing, stop hacking, and turn around and wander towards this thing. Now, neither of you has gone super far, and you're walking, relatively slowly because you're walking in the sort of fascinated, like, wow, kind of way that anyone who is checking out some sweet colors.
The way people
down-
walk through Costco.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got that cow-eyed sort of like, oh, yeah. And this is you're feeling pretty good. Like it's got this euphoric feeling to it. Clarabelle, why don't you make one more wisdom saving throw to see whether you notice what's happening here.
12.
12 is not good enough. Okay, so Flan, you are going to get to the spirally thing, and that's pretty exciting. And you're gonna kind of go, oh, very cool, as the spiral sort of coalesces around you and it absorbs your body into its embrace. And it feels actually pretty good. It's like you're getting a nice big hug, and then there's just this sharp feeling in your head as something bites into it. Can I? You're not going to get a save for this. You're just going to take a bite. That's not too bad. So you take 9 points of damage as something rams into your skull. It is trying to pierce your skull. I'm not sure if it has succeeded in trepanning you, but definitely that is the intent, to crack you open like a nut. And Krankfour, whoa, oh, that's really weird. It was really weird that when the spiral turned out to be a flying octopus, not of the same sort as the other octopus that you saw, but a different kind of sort of finny cephalopod color changing thing. It was very strange when it stopped its like spiral dance and kind of hugged Flan, but it didn't really phase you too much. But it then got a little bit scary when it actually like bit into Flan's head with its beak. So that's pretty bad. And Clarabelle, at this point, without even making a saving throw, you've realized that something is horribly wrong. So let's roll initiative and see where we end up from there.
I'll roll.
Who's the last? Go ahead, Clarabelle. Yeah, the last one, the only uncharmed person.
Yeah. 4.
4. Okay, so you get to go. So Flan, you are no longer charmed, but you are restrained. You are being octopused in exactly the way that you would expect to be octopused.
Right.
So in fact, I had a nightmare about this when I was. This is one of the only nightmares I remember from when I was like 3 or 4 years old. Was I was terrible at swimming lessons. I was scared of them. I didn't like doing them, and so I was like, I'd resigned myself to never being able to swim in my entire life. I had this wonderful dream where I was at the beach, I swam out, and I could swim all of a sudden, and I was like just able to move around, and then an octopus wrapped itself around me and said in English, "Now I'm going to eat you," and I ran up to my parents' bed and did the typical 3 or 4 year old thing. Anyway, that's what this octopus is doing to you, except for it's not talking to you in English, and it is instead of talking to you in English, it is talking to you in the language of its big chitinous beak. So yeah, you're restrained. You can make a strength or dex save as your action to unrestrain yourself and get away.
All right.
The others of you, Krankfour, you are no longer charmed, and suddenly the charm has quite worn off this situation. And Clarabelle, you're a ways away, so if you want to catch up to stuff, it'll take you some time, but you'll be able to get over there in a round or two, or in a round or so. 1 round is what I'm saying.
Okay. Clarabelle will run over with the echo out.
Okay.
Yep. I think it's time for me to poke it with an Eku.
Okay. This is we're on the Eku poking plan.
I think so. I
All
think
right.
it's dangerous to try spraying sand at something that's wrapped around a friend of mine's head.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a fair point. Maybe the Echo is a fairer point. Go ahead and make an attack.
All right, we are. Oh no, that's just not going to happen.
Okay.
It was a 1 on the die.
Okay. So 1 on the die is actually important. That is a
Oh,
critical
okay.
failure. It doesn't mean that you like stunned in reverse or whatever, but what it does mean is maybe the Echo hits the ground, or you don't anticipate something with it, and you manage to do some damage to it. So it's going to lose 1 point of quality as you slightly misuse your weapon and suffer the consequences thereof. So Clarabelle is running over. Flan?
Well, you said that this bit into my head for 9 points of damage. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think. Well, my HP is exactly 9.
Ah.
So now you told us before, if we're at exactly 0, does that mean that I'm not dead but incapacitated?
Yeah. So exactly 0 has some important rules effects associated with it. I'm just going to look that up to make sure that I know, because it happens so infrequently. I believe that the situation with 0 is that you are basically disabled. You're unconscious,
Okay.
but you are not dead. I am just looking for this in the Knave document. Come on. One of the problems with playing systems that you are not totally playing a huge amount of is finding
All the rules.
okay, on a hit. When a character reaches 0 hit points, they are unconscious. When they reach -1 hit points or less, they are dead. So you are unconscious. That's not super great for you.
But I'm having a dream about sparkly lights.
Yeah. So
Fame.
I think, unfortunately, that this is not going to end super well, because it's now going to be the octopus's go, and the octopus wants nothing more than a yummy bit of brain, and it doesn't need to roll to hit you, I don't believe. Oh, you know what? It doesn't say that, so I'm going to give it an attack roll with advantage, and we'll see what happens.
Sometimes you bite your own tongue.
Yeah, it doesn't. It bites your head instead. So so that'll do 2 points of damage, but that is enough to perforate your dome as the beak crunches in there, and then it starts to suck out the juices inside. I'm sorry, Andy. I am sorry, Flan. And it starts to just go ham on Flan's noggin. I don't even want to describe it, but it's obvious. It kind of is happy to ignore the other surface dwellers who are around if it can just gobble up a little bit of that brain. So yeah, that's what it's going to do. As the temple slowly begins to fill up with water. So if, Clarabelle and Krankfour, are you gonna take off? Do you want to try and reap vengeance? Is there anything else that you want to do?
As the temple slowly begins to fill with water, you say?
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Clarabelle?
I think that this is the fail state that we remember from our past adventures.
Would you like to attempt to get back to our home?
I would like to succeed in getting back to our home. Thank you.
Well, that is a given. You may do that. You can head back to your home, minus Flan, and we can start a new generation.
Sorry, Flan.
You were delicious.
Flan, you know, at least has an anesthetized death. I feel like Flan never really fully came back to consciousness, and died as she lived, surrounded by color and aesthetics.
Oh, lovely. Good.
So, gosh, another death that felt really unfair. Let's,
if only someone could have done something about that.
only.
I'm surprised it bit into my head and there wasn't like any armor class stuff. Well, I guess if I was charmed and I was sort of, then I could just bite my head. Yeah.
You ever feel your head? There's a lot of soft spaces in there.
Yeah,
really
there were.
are.
I mean, there were a lot of saving throws. I guess like leading up to that, but like you usually fail saving throws, so like that's not really an excuse. But you know, sometimes you get the octopus, and sometimes the octopus gets you, and sometimes the octopus, you know, takes you to a nice place to sleep for the night, which can be pretty nice. Okay, so you are gonna get to save some of the stuff from this run. Obviously, Flan, all of Flan's inventory except for one item is going to be lost. So Andy, you can choose what you want that to be. What is more important this time is that you do get to take some of your experience points forward to the next generation. So you get 1/8 of your total experience points as your experience total. I know that's not a huge amount, but it is something. You also, when you roll your next heir, you get. Normally, what you do is you roll 3d6 and you take the lowest die. If you have a 15 to 18 in your ability, you take the median die. This is your ability defense. And if you have a 19 or 20, you take the highest die. So I don't think anyone falls into the 19 to 20 category, but I think you have some abilities that are 15 to 18.
Didn't quite get there.
Yeah, not quite. Close, though.
But unfortunately, this is slightly awkward timing because normally we would... I would say that we should go for another 15 minutes or so, but it's probably going to take longer than that to actually roll up new characters. It's probably for the best that we call this session for the evening and begin our post-show. So sorry, that's a bit of an anticlimactic downer to end things on. I don't feel like deaths are ever really an upper, but such is the nature of the game.
We'll
for those of you who
new characters,
yes, we'll be back next week with new characters, and I feel like next week your goal should be to kind of blitz through as much as you can, as quickly as you can, because next week is our last week of Rasp of Sand. The intent for this game was to play one session of it, check it out, try it out, and see if we had fun with it, and we did. So that was great. And then there was an opening, so we're playing a few more games, but next session is the last one that we have booked. So I don't think you're going to finish, but this is also something that we could theoretically come back to if there's demand for it, and people like it, and you folks are available as well. So let's cut to the credits, I guess, and we will see you next week for the ultimate session of Rasp of Sand, where we will see the next generation pick up where their overperforming parents left off, or grandparents, or whoever you are, and really make an impact on the Deep Queen's Temple. Until then, I'm Jer, and for Andy, Ian, and Matt, and Paul, thanks for joining us tonight.